Thank you for joining today. We'll go ahead and start today's practice by coming into a comfortable seated position, either in your chair or on the floor, making sure your spine is straight, maybe pressed up against the back of the chair or against a wall or a bed or just wherever in your space. And you can always add a block or a pillow or something under your hips and help find a little more comfort as we start to settle into our comfortable position. Now you're always welcome to bring your legs into a crisscross applesauce or send them out long or find any comfortable position for your body. As we start to settle in, we'll rest our hands gently. Begin to allow our shoulders to relax. Maybe you close your eyes or maybe you simply soften your gaze, letting your focus become blurry. As we start to turn inward, start to find our breath. Drawing deep inhales, slow and steady. Extended exhales. Take 3 really big breaths. And with each exhale, see if you can start to allow your body to find a little softness, a little relaxation, a little release of something, anything, allowing you to let go of your day or your week or even your year. And just simply start to come into this moment, this deep breath. And as we finish up this next round of that deep breath, we'll actually start to focus on the breath itself a little bit more, making our exhale start to be twice as long as our inhale. If you like, you can add a count, maybe a 4 on the inhale and an 8 on the exhale. Or maybe you find it just a little more naturally in your body. However long your inhale is, make your exhale twice as long. And as we continue with that breath, I want you to start to scan through your body, noticing what there is to notice physically. Any aches or pains, any tweaks or twinges, anything that calls your body and mind's attention. As you take those deep, steady, repeating breaths. Recurring lessons are not failures. Life is full of reoccurring lessons. Just like the seasons change and waves continuously crash on the shore, lessons are brought into our lives. Thinking of life as a series of repetitions might be a little disheartening, but it's more like waves crashing on the shore, making the sand smooth each time. We receive our lessons at the perfect time, whether we realize it or not, when we're ready for it, and when we need it. And each time the same lesson appears, we are a little wiser, a little kinder, maybe a little more understanding. Each time A lesson appears in our lives. There's something new for us to learn. When we choose to read books again, each time we learn something new from that same book. So as we take a last few of these breaths today, inhaling, exhaling for twice as long, bring to mind a lesson that is reoccurring in your life currently. This is not a sign of failure, but instead, a moment to learn. We begin to allow our breathing to find its natural rhythm, its natural flow. We'll take this opportunity to offer ourselves some gratitude for taking time out of our day to find ourselves with a little bit of kindness. And then when you're ready, we'll start to wiggle fingers and toes. We'll flutter the eyes open. And then let's start to add some movement into our practice. If you're seated on the chair, go ahead and give yourself a little bit of space by coming to the edge, making sure your feet are flat, your spine is tall. And same for on the floor, your spine is tall. Let's go ahead and bring our hands to a prayer at heart center. And as we do, take a deep breath in. Your next exhale, drop the hands by the hips and then circle them as slowly as you can up towards the ceiling. Inhaling as the fingertips meet. If they don't meet, that's fine. Keep them as far away as possible, but find a space that feels good for you. And then as we exhale, we'll start to draw the hands back down through heart center. We'll take 3 more cycles like that on our own. Inhaling, exhaling, taking it really slow and maybe just a tiny bit repetitive. To learn what we can. Such a simple movement that stretches and moves so many different parts of our bodies. Last time around. We'll meet with hands at heart center, and then as we inhale, take those hands back overhead. Exhale, allow your arms to open in bird wings. So they come out to a Y almost, and then keep going till they're almost at your hips. Great job. And then with an inhale, we'll circle the arms at shoulder length into a big beach ball, like we're hugging it with our fingertips coming towards each other, maybe touching, maybe not. An arch to the spine, start to find chin to chest. Notice how that feels in your body. We'll take 3 big breaths on our own. Inhaling from bird wings. Exhaling to beach ball. Chin goes to torso and then opens towards the sky as you invite that big back bend. Last one. Great job. Go ahead and drop your hands towards your lap. We've done a lot of shoulder work there. Let's give them a moment to break. And we'll take some peacock fingertips. So we'll turn our palms out and either on the floor or maybe on your own legs, start to push your palms away from you, stretching through the upper part of your arms. Now those hands may come close to whatever prop you're using, they may not. Maybe you've been doing a lot of computer work and this feels like a big stretch in the moment. Beautiful job. All right, go ahead and release that. Bring hands back to a prayer. We're gonna take our fingertips, we're gonna slide them just one fingertip over, and then we're gonna interlace our fingers in that bunny grip, that one that doesn't feel as natural as the other one. And then let's start to take some wrist circles here. And maybe let those circles get bigger and wilder. And maybe you get into a raver roll here, or go the opposite way. Or maybe you bring those hands together and circle the hands, palm, back of the hand around a couple times. So finding some wrist movement and stretches that feel good for you. Great job. Go ahead and release your hands toward your lap. Inhale, circle arms up and overhead. Exhale, bring them down to a T. We're then going to bring the right arm under the left arm at a cross in front of the torso. We're going to find an eagle arm. So maybe we're hugging towards our shoulders, walking the fingertips back. Maybe we start to bring the backs or the fronts of hands together, or maybe we bring that strap in between our hands. So finding whatever feels good for you, but keeping the spine straight, seeing if you can start to work the hands away from the face. It's okay if you can't. Listen to our body where it's at. Great job. Exhale, release arms wide to a T. Let's switch it up, taking left arm under right, crossing, finding the eagle arm variation of your choice. Keeping the spine straight, like a string is pulling from the top of your head towards the ceiling. Great job. Last breath in your eagle arms. Inhale, open up wide. Circle arms overhead. And then let's bring our right hand down by our right hip, either to the chair, or to the floor, or even a prop. And then start to send that left arm overhead, taking it into a deep side bend. You may even want to come down onto the elbow a little bit if that's part of your practice. Great job. Inhale through center. Exhale, take it to the left. Being mindful that your shoulder isn't starting to come down towards your knee, but keeping it open, your torso open. You may be keeping your gaze down or taking it out or even taking it up, but keeping your body feeling open here. Inhale, bring it back through center. Exhale, twist to the right. Each inhale lengthens your spine. Each exhale softens into the twist. Take it for one more breath here. Inhale through center. Exhale, other way. You are doing a beautiful job today. Inhale to come back through center. Exhale to bring those hands down through heart center. And then we're going to start to take some torso circles, but you have the option of keeping your hands in a prayer, adding a little bit more challenge to your torso circle, or dropping your hands to your knees or legs in some form. So it's up to you. We'll go a few times around, and then let's take it in the other direction. Inhale to come back to your straight spine. Exhale to drop your hands behind you, either on the chair or on the floor. Start to pull your elbows either out to the side or maybe behind you as you lift your heart, lift your gaze, a seated camel. Squeezing shoulder blades together. Great job. Exhale to straighten the spine. If you're on the mat, let's come on to hands and knees in the tabletop. If you're on the chair, go ahead and stay in your seated mountain. We're going to take some cat cows here by dropping our belly or pulling it forward and lifting our chin. And then exhaling and rounding the spine. Take it at your own pace. Take any additional cat-cow movements that feel good in your body, from barrel rolls to looking over your shoulder and back at your hips. Any other movement that might feel good as you explore cat-cow today. Go ahead and find your straight spine. You're seated in the chair. Inhale, lift arms up and overhead. And with our exhale, we'll sink into a child's pose. On the chair, you can bring your hands to your knees or reach it towards the floor or a prop or even down your legs. If you're seated if you're on the floor, you're going to sink the hips back. Knees can be together or wide. Stretch those arms out and let your forehead start to sink towards the floor. Feel your breath here. Maybe take a couple of movements with the neck in any direction that feels good for you. Settle into a little bit of stillness. Take 3 of those breaths that we took in during our breath exercise today. So where your inhale, your exhale is twice as long as your inhale. Each exhale allows you to sink just a little bit more into this child's pose. Good job. With our next inhale, start to walk your hands over towards the right side of your space. Maybe it's your right leg, maybe it's a prop to the right of your side of your mat or the right of your foot. Great job. Exhale, start to walk it through center over to the left side of your space. Exhale through center. Inhale, roll it up to tabletop or seated mountain. And then let's come on up to standing, getting there in your own time and in your own way. We'll come into our mountain pose, making sure we feel steady on our feet. For this next movement, you can bring your hands back into that overhead position with hands to touching. You could bring your hands to your hips. Either are great options. And as always, you can hold on to a prop for a little bit of support. We're going to start things off standing and taking 8 hip circles. So almost like you are hula hooping here. Take your hips out, back, around, in one direction just a few times. Again, this may look different depending on where you've chosen to keep your hands. Start to slow it down. However slow you think you're going, see if you can go even slower. And as you make this movement, notice the parts of your body that are saying something to you. Or maybe it's neutral. All right, go ahead and go the other direction. Just like before, slow it down. See if you can go a little bit slower. Really exaggerate the movement as you're going slower. Pulling it as far forward, to the side, back, and around. All right, go ahead and come back to your standing mountain. Exhale, bird wings. And then go ahead and bring your hands to a bind at behind your back. You can take your traditional grip. And again, that can be hands interlaced, opposite wrist, opposite elbows. Maybe you're just simply holding the sides of your shirt, or you have a prop of any length behind your back, letting you roll your shoulders open, feel your heart lift, feel your breath here. And then let's start to find a little bit of a twist at the hips, a little bounce in the knees, soft in the ankles. Allow your hands to lift away from your hips as much as available. Might not be very much. Maybe with each breath, you can lift it just a little bit higher behind you. All right. Finding that same bounce in the hips, knees, and ankles. We're going to release our bind behind our back, but start to find washing machine arms. So we're twisting at the hips, hands are flailing at the sides. We'll start by going a little faster than you were going before. Maybe the hands come up a little bit, maybe they hit against your body. It's all good. Notice what you're learning from taking these movements. Yes, we've done it many times before. Repeating is not a failure. Repeating is giving ourselves the opportunity to learn a little bit more about how this feels in this moment at this time so that we can take that into the future. All right, slow it down. Slow it way down, but keep going. Notice how it feels different when you go slow. Maybe add a little force in your twists. Not force, but momentum, I guess would be a better word. All right. Allow yourself to unwind until the hands come to rest by your sides. All right. Let's come into a sun salutation. So we'll start at the top of our mat. If you use walls for props, this would be a good place to be close to a wall. If you're using your chair, that's always an option, but make sure it's steady. Come and do your mountain. Inhale, circle arms overhead. Reach them up. Exhale, we're going to take it into a right side bend. Hands can stay together, or maybe one comes to your hip as you lean over to the right. Inhale back through center. Exhale, lean to the left. Inhale back through center. We're going to cactus and twist to the right. Inhale through center. Cactus and twist to the left. Back through center. With our exhale, we're going to peel our heart open like bird wings and then hinge into our forward fold. Hands can rest on the floor, your legs are a prop of your choice. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the spine, gaze stays down. Exhale, hinge back into your forward fold. We're going to hold here for just a moment. You're welcome to grab opposite elbows or maybe take a sway from side to side. Feel free to move your head or mouth in any direction that feels good in this dangling position. And then like a willow tree blowing in the wind, allow that wind to die down, finding your stillness once more. We'll go ahead and release our hands to their previous location. And then start to bend the knees. If you're on the mat, we're going to bring our hands down to the floor. And if we're going to come into the wall position, we're going to bring our hands to the wall. We're going to step back into a plank or a half plank. So hands are under our shoulders. We're putting a little bit of weight between our shoulders, wrists, and elbows. We're keeping our spine straight. If you're on the mat, your knees can be down and toes lifted, or toes down and knees lifted. We're just going to hold this for another 3, 2, engage your core, 1. On your exhale, lower down to the mat or walk yourself towards the wall. Sliding hands under your shoulders. And then with our inhale, start to look up, cobra pose. Exhale, bring it back, forehead to the floor or mat or wall. And take a couple of rolling cobras. Inhaling to come up, exhaling to come down. You can go as deep or as baby cobra as you'd like, as you explore your spine here. Beautiful job. Last time. Exhale to release forehead to the mat or the wall. Inhale. Come back into your plank or half plank or wall plank. Great job. Tuck your toes if they're not already. Inhale, find a downward facing dog. You're on the wall. You're going to move those hips from plank and start to bring the heels to the floor. Dropping head in between your arms, no matter which orientation you're at. Feel your spine straighten as you press into the pads of your fingertips and hands. You can start to walk your dog a little bit here, bending one knee and then the other, shifting your hips. And then find a little bit of stillness. We're going to take 3 more of those big breaths. Inhale and then twice as long on the exhale, but make your exhale audible here. Maybe even a lion's breath if that suits you in this moment, sticking your tongue out. Stop. Begin to take your gaze back towards your legs and then walk your hands towards your legs, coming into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Pause here. Left hand comes under your face, and then swing the right hand out to the side and up. Exhale, release. Right hand where places left, left hand circles towards the sky. Exhale to release. Fold it all the way down. Bend the knees, sink the hips. And then like a pea unfurling or a flower unveiling, roll as slowly as you can into mountain pose. Take a great big breath there. Beautiful sun salutation. All right, we're going to give ourselves a little balance challenge while we work on our ankles and feet a little bit. So feel free to have a prop close by. We're going to start by bringing our weight into the balls of our feet and lifting up either one or both heels. And then bring them both down. Lean back and lift your toes. Start to find a little rock back and forth. Again, keep your knees and ankles and hips a little light as you rock back and forth through your feet. All right, go ahead and find both feet flat on the floor. We're going to start to bring our right knee up just a little bit. You can keep those toes on the mat or you can start to lift them off. But we're going to take some ankle rolls. Find a spot on the floor that's not moving. It's a good balance helper. Now reverse your ankle rolls. Great job. Now take that same foot, bring it behind you, either onto the floor or even onto a prop. And stretch through the top of your foot, your shin just. Great job. Go ahead and bring that foot forward. Let's try the other side. Ankle rolls. Reverse them. And the top of your foot behind you. Stretch out through the toes and the top of your foot. Great job. Come back into your mountain pose. Now we're going to take swimmer. We're going to start with one arm and slowly breaststroke forward and back. Letting one arm come forward at a time, rolling through those shoulders. You're doing great. Now slow it down. Now maybe speed it up. Again, these are terms that are relative to your movement. So if I'm going faster than you, that's absolutely fine. All right, now we're going to change it up and take those arms back. Backstroke. Slow it down. Now you might feel like you're in the matrix. And speed it up. Great job. Go ahead and bring those arms down by your side. Maybe give a wiggle or a shake. We're going to bring our left arm up overhead, our right hand on our hip or a chair. Let's take it up overhead into that side bend, but really take that left hip as far to the left as you can. Inhale, bring that arm out to a T. Cross it across your torso. Draw it in. Now we're going to go and we're going to take that hand that is across our torso and we're going to twist it even more towards the right, turning at the hips. Unwind, take the arm back behind. Bring it to your hip, maybe slide it along your back. Maybe even bring it over to the other hip if that's part of your body's anatomy at the moment. Great job. Exhale, shake and release that arm. Let's take that on the other side. Left hand on hip, little prop. We're going to start to lean over to the left with the right hand and then actively push that right hip as far to the right as you can. Doing great. Inhale to bring it back to a T. Draw it across the torso, capturing it. Either wrist, elbow, arm, anywhere that feels good as you draw and open it with that right shoulder. Doing great. Our next inhale lengthens the spine and our next exhale twists that right hand even more towards the left, twisting at our hips. Exhale to unwind back to a T and then flip the palm, bringing it again to the hip, behind the back, maybe hand to opposite hip. Big, beautiful breath. All right, let's go ahead and release that. We have one more balance challenge before we move on to our pool bend. So again, feel free to have a prop nearby. I'm going to start now mountain pose. I'm going to lift that right knee. Toes can stay on the ground or even bring a prop underneath it if you'd like. Or maybe you start to lift that knee up to hip height. Maybe you hold the knee with your hands or a strap. Maybe you set that foot on a prop and give yourself all the support you need. For this first breath, I want you to really focus on keeping your spine straight and your knee bent up the standing way. Take one more breath here. You can either stay here or for more of a challenge, start to bend your nose towards your knee. Coming to knee to nose pose. You're done with our next inhale. Bring your spine back to straight. We're gonna then open that right knee out to the right side, like a Captain Morgan, and then send that leg out long. Again, you can always have a hand on a prop. You can always have the foot on a prop. All right, as gracefully as you can, bring the foot in front of you. Hold it for one more moment. Point the toes. Exhale, slow release. Great job. Feel like make any movement you want. And then we'll take that whole sequence on the other side. Starting to lift the left heel. Maybe the toe peels up. Maybe you support your knee, your foot, or any other part of your body that would like a little support, including bringing your spine to a wall, if that's the support that feels the best for you in this moment. All right, you can always stay tall. You don't need to take the bend. But if you're going to start to bend the knee towards the nose, find that slow, gentle movement. You're doing great. Last breath here. Inhale, bring it back to a straight spine. Open the knee to the left. And then start to straighten the leg. Controlling the muscle of the leg as you draw it across in front of you. Point the toes away from you. Slowly bring it down to the ground. Great job. All righty. From here, let's go ahead and come down into a seated position. Either seated mountain pose or seated on the mat. We're gonna bring the soles of our feet to the floor. We're gonna bend to our knees. Or on the mat, maybe you bring your hands behind you to support you. And let's come into a seated figure four. So maybe straightening your left leg, bringing your right ankle over towards the top of your knee, and then letting that right knee open out to the right side. You can keep your leg extended straight, or you can bring a bend to the knee and walk your left foot back towards your hip a little or a lot. If you're taking this on the chair, you can also have your ankle on your knee if that's part of your practice, but it might not be. So maybe you have it on the floor, maybe you have a block or another prop under it. That foot can be right up against your leg, or there can be space. It's really up to you on what feels good for your hips. Our goal here is really just to get that external rotation of that right hip. Now you can keep your spine tall here, or if just like on the floor, you want to get a little closer, start to draw your heart towards your foot. Beautiful seated figure. Let's inhale, come back up to a straight spine or extend that left leg long. And then let's switch sides. Bringing right foot or extending it long. Left ankle comes towards the knee or towards your prop. Maybe you start to bend that right leg, drawing your torso and your shin just a little bit closer. Maybe you hinge forward if you're in the chair. Paying attention to that left hip, what it's saying in this moment. All right, great job. Let's exhale to release left side. And then we'll find a butterfly pose. So bringing the soles of the feet together, the knees wide, and then bring yourself up to a straight spine, whether you're in your chair or seated on the floor. You're always welcome to have props under the knees if you'd like, or even under the feet if you're seated in the chair, bringing those feet just a little bit closer to your hips. Bring your hands to either side of your knees, letting your knees come together. And then let's go ahead. If you're on the mat, come down onto your back. Let your feet go as wide as your mat. If you're seated in the chair, let your feet go as wide as your chair or as wide as feels good. And then we're going to take a windshield wiper, letting the knees fall in unison, left to right. The next time the knees are to the right, go ahead and pause there. You can keep the legs staggered or you can bring them together to stack. If you like to take binds, you could cross at the ankles or knees. And then maybe you take your gaze into the opposite direction, but it's not a requirement. Feel free to gaze anywhere that feels good to your twist. Exhale to release a few times through windshield wiper. And then take it to the other side. Beautiful job. Last breath in our twist. Exhale to unwind. All right, for this last pose, we're going to come into a fish pose that is supported by a prop. So an option would be your bolster or pillow. If you're seated in the chair, you could bring it to the back. If you're in the floor, you can be on the floor. You could also roll up a blanket that can make a really nice, soft, but wonderful option. Either bringing that to the back of your chair or again along the mat. For something just a little bit more intense, you would use your blocks, having one to support your head on any height, and then one that's just below the shoulder blades. So as you start to find whichever variation of fish pose or supported fish pose that you would like to take, maybe you open your arms into a bird wing or cactus position here as you lay over the prop of your choice. And you have two options here. You can allow the prop to be down the center of your spine, allowing your back and shoulders to open over it. Or the other option is to bring it long ways through your mat and let yourself recline back more like a camel or a fish that way. Your legs can be in constructive rest or seated mountain. You can even extend them long or maybe take a butterfly if that is something you would like to do. We'll take just a few more breaths in whichever fish pose you've chosen to take today. Good job. Your next exhale, roll off your fish props and then roll back onto your back. If you're in the chair, you can keep a blanket or pillow there for just a little bit more support. Keep the hips forward, the shoulders back. And then let's hug our right knee in towards our chest. You're always welcome to bring your nose towards your knee or your forehead towards your knee. Not having to make contact, but just feeling that comfort of rounding in. We'll bring the right foot back. And then let's bring the right knee in, maybe curling the forehead towards the knee. Exhale, release the left leg. We're going to curl into our version of a ball. So if it's on the mat, we're going to bring our knees towards our torso. And if they're in the chair, we're going to bring our torso towards our knees. We're going to make room for our bodies. We're going to bring our chin towards our torso or our forehead towards our knees, if that feels good. You can also start to rock from side to side, giving yourself a nice massage. And then I want you to start to create a little tension in your body. Maybe you start to squeeze your fingers and toes. Maybe you start to squeeze your jaw, but start to create so much tension in your body that you might almost feel like you could explode. You've created so much tension. And then with your next exhale, do exactly that. Exhale and explode out, taking up as much space on your props as you possibly can. And then with an exhale, release into your final resting pose of choice. It always takes corpse pose or legs up the wall. Maybe you move to a more comfortable space in your surroundings. It is up to you where you choose to take your final resting pose. But as we start to settle in, we make any movements and any adjustments so that we can start to relax on command. And close our eyes or maybe simply soften our gaze. Resting our hands gently and allowing our tongue to fall from the roof of our mouth. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, slowly arrive in your internal landscape. Start to release any tension from your body. Allow yourself to fully arrive in this moment, feeling the support of Mother Earth and the props beneath you. Let your body melt into those surfaces. Let your mind settle in stillness. As you continue to breathe deeply, notice a sense of calm or even peace start to wash over you. Imagine that with each breath in, you are inhaling relaxation and light. And with each exhale, you are releasing stress and worries. We'll begin to reflect on the theme of today's class. Reoccurring lessons are not a failure. I asked you at the beginning to think about a lesson that life has brought to you repeatedly. These lessons are not a sign of your failure, but rather opportunities for growth and for really deeper understanding. As we work towards acceptance of those lessons, maybe repeat these following phrases to yourself. I welcome these lessons with an open heart. I understand that each lesson is a step towards growth. And I trust the process of learning and evolving. Now begin to imagine yourself standing in a beautiful, serene forest, maybe one you've been to before, or maybe it's only here in your mind today. The air is fresh and crisp, falls gentle rustling leaves bring a sense of tranquility. As you walk through this forest, you've come across a path that you've seen before. It's a familiar one that you've walked many times. And each time you walk this path, you begin to notice something new. Perhaps a different flower in a different stage of bloom. A new bird singing a beautiful song. Or simply the way the light filters through the leaves this time of year. Each walk brings you a deeper appreciation and understanding of such a beautiful place. And as you walk on this path, begin to realize that your journey through life's lessons is much like that walk. Each time you encounter that reoccurring lesson, it's an opportunity to see things from a new perspective, to learn something new or different, and to grow. We can start to embrace these lessons with compassion and kindness towards ourselves, knowing that each step we take is a part of your unique journey. And right here on our path, let's affirm to ourselves, I am open to the lessons that life brings. I am open to the life and lessons that life brings. I am growing and evolving with each experience. I am growing and evolving with each experience. And I am patient and kind with myself on my journey. I am patient and kind to myself on my journey. Let's take a moment to express gratitude for the opportunities to learn and grow. Thanking yourself for being open to the lessons of your life, and even for your dedication to personal growth. We can carry the sense of acceptance and peace with us as we go about our day, remembering that our reoccurring lessons are not a sign of lacking or failure, but instead unique opportunities for growth each time with deeper understanding. When you're ready, take the deepest breath. Your day so far. Begin to wiggle fingers and toes and gently reawaken your body. Maybe roll your shoulders or stretch your arms. And bring your awareness back into this room. As in your own time, in your own way, you start to come up to an upright position facing me. Thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time. Thank you.